Good morning, founder and executive chairman of Nanofilm Technologies International Limited, Dr. and Mrs. Shi Xu. And to you, Board of Trustee member, Mr. Tan Chin Hui, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the dialogue with Dr. Shi Xu, from academic to tech tycoon. My name is Tan Yun Ting. I'm a Year 3 School of Biological Sciences student, and it is my honor to be your MC for today. To start off this morning's program, it is my pleasure to invite Professor Louis Fee to deliver his welcome address. Professor Fee, please.
Good morning. We have about 30 people here in the audience physically, and we have about 800 people who have registered to attend this event virtually. So welcome everyone, but my warmest welcome goes out to Dr. Shi Xu and his wife, Madam Jin. Dr. Xu needs no introduction really. He and his company have been in the news in the past few months. In fact, my mother is tracking the nanofilm shares very closely as well. In any case, a little bit about Dr. Xu. He received his PhD in thin film technology from the University of Reading, UK in 1991. He joined NTU, then known as NTI, as a lecturer in 1991 and was promoted to senior lecturer in 1996. He was redesignated as associate professor in 1999. I know for a fact that this was a significant academic achievement in those days. In the same year, Dr. Xu founded Nanofilm based on his award-winning patented filtered cathodic vacuum arc technology, FCVA for short. Since then, Nanofilm has developed strong capabilities in production, quality assurance engineering, and R&D. Under Dr. Xu's leadership, Nanofilm has grown into a multinational technology and manufacturing group with over 1,400 employees, providing unique solutions in advanced coatings and nano products to many industrial partners in various industry sectors. In short, with its technology's humble beginnings in a lab at the School of Electrical and Electronic Engineering at NTU, Nanofilm has grown into a unicorn. In recognition of his achievements, Dr. Xu was the overall winner of EY Entrepreneur of the Year in 2017. And this was just one of his many prestigious accolades. So today we are gathered here physically and virtually to be inspired by his amazing journey from academic to tech tycoon. So without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to invite on stage the man himself, Dr. Shi Xu.
A reminder once again that if you have any questions on today's topic, please scan the QR code displayed on screen in front and type in your question. We will have them answered during the Q&A. Before we begin, we would like to assure everyone that precautionary measures have been taken to ensure that it is safe for Dr. Shi and Professor Fee to remove their masks during the dialogue session. I'll now hand over the time to the panel.
All right. So, Dr. Xu, tell us your story. How did your research in this area turn into this innovative idea?
Okay, that was a long story, and it's 30 years ago. Yeah, I started work in NTI, or then NTI, then NTU, since 1991. And I started a project with a collaboration with Cambridge I think in 1993, right? And this is when I started this project. We call it FCVA. And it's the beginning of our research effort in NTU. And for this technology itself was it's a deep tech technology, and it's been around for many, many years. It was conceptualized and started in Russia. That was probably in the 50s and 60s. It took about 20 years to spread into the world, and into Australia, USA, UK, and started some research effort. And then in NTU, we started not too late, 1993, and we quickly sort of catch up. And then in the whole world also, I think in the middle of 90s and early 2000, various companies, groups, tried attempts to commercialize this technology. And we were one of such attempts. And of course, luckily and somehow we did our part and we are successful. We are the only company commercially successfully commercialize this technology and to apply this technology into production, into mass production, and into multiple applications. So it's like a three-stage jumping. Right? The first stage is from conceptualization to a serious research work. That's about 20 years. And another 20 years from some serious research work to serious commercial attempts. And then that took us another 20 years to make it successful in terms of productization and application in various industrial applications.
So back to the point, you were performing well as a professor. So what made you decide to start off a company?
Yeah, that is a very interesting question. Yes, since I was a boy, of course, I like science and technology, and I like to do things by my own hands. And then when I started this project, immediately I was attracted by its potential in industrial applications. And then after a number of years intensive research work, and we successfully filed a few patents and started some commercialization attempts with the help of NTU Venture and the Innovation Center at that time in NTU. But it was not smooth, the commercialization path. And the attempts was, in a way, not that successful. And we've been talking with quite a few number of multinational companies in the world in thin film technology field. And somehow that we just couldn't reach a deal to commercialize it. In a way, like, as a general nutshell, that this technology at that time was not regarded as a potential high flyer, and not regarded as a potential commercial big success. So it was difficult. So for me to come out is, I think, in a threefold of reason. One, at that time, like year 2000, 1999, it seems my career in university was just cruise along. Everything just settled. I had our lab. We had quite a big, sizable lab. I had a lot of students, graduated a lot of students, and got tenure. Right? And tenure is very important in university. And assumably still is. And probably just waiting for, I think, going forward, just waiting for super scale, right? And waiting for professorship in time to come. And so I of course, I know a lot of friends in the academic world, and that is sort of like a platform established, and you can start to take off and do a lot more things in terms of research and development. But to me, is getting a bit bored. Is such kind of a startup excitement for the research group, the research lab was quickly fade away. And the life is getting like, you can predict 20 years afterwards. And since we have this technology and there was no take up bit from the industry, and in order to, I would say, because I have a strong conviction, this is a technology that is going to be very useful in the industry, and it's revolutionary and it's groundbreaking. So I think I need to do something to prove to the world, and in a way to do by my own hands to show people that this technology can be used for various applications. So I took that step without really a lot of thinking, right? Without a lot of thinking. And I firmly believe when you do something important, significant, if you think too much, it's very difficult to actually do something. So better just do it. And because I was still young, at age of 35, so I think it's the right time to try something bold. And we also I'm a bit underestimate the toughness and hardship in the industrial attempt. At that time I thought that in university it seems everything under control, everything settled quite nicely. Teaching is like cruise along job, right? Except every term that you have to mark 900 papers. But then after that, all this tutorial, all this lecture feels so easy to go by. Research is getting really on track. And so I thought that, things are not that difficult, right? We can handle. How hard would that be for a industrial application, to do some company thing? That would be interesting. And the reason for that is because in my family, my wife's family, none of us had ever sort of commercial experience. We were novice, we were green in the commercial world. I knew nothing about company, really. And so that maybe, give me that boldness to try something. But yeah, it is a little bit impulsive, but with fundamental believing, with a passion, and I took the step, and I don't regret it.
Yeah, so there's something we can all learn from you, to be bold and go and do what we believe in. But what is that one eureka moment when you decided to leave NTU and do this 100%?
That is when all the time when we started commercialization trials and attempts, my original thinking always I would like to be a consultant. Right? I can assist in companies' technological stuff and let the commercial people to run commercial things and to strive for commercial success. But then after success of failures, basically, right? And then to the certain stage that people start to doubt, and lots of doubts. They just say, why all these people they eventually don't take up this technology, right? Why all these companies eventually they just go away? Maybe the reason is your technology not that good, which is I would say is a logical explanation, right? It's one of the options. Yes, I think that is something that I feel a bit, I can't agree with that, because I said, I have strong conviction this is a very powerful technology, and I believe that it can be commercialized in short period of time. It is something inside, it is not remote, and so this is something that I tell myself I must prove those people wrong. And this technology is a real thing, is a gem, and we need to do something.
Right. So, Dr. Shi, NTU in the 90s was more of a teaching university. Innovations and enterprise activities were very rare. So, what were the challenges you faced during those times?
Yeah. When I joined NTU, then called NTI, basically on the very first few days, and we were given orientations and would be given very clear, not that instructions, but guidance that this place is a teaching-centric institution, right? And we focus on teaching, and because all of us, we came from overseas, like with research background, we wanted to do research and so on. So we always wanted to do we have some research facilities, we want to carry out the research programs, but then say, they specifically just say, don't think too much about research, let's do teaching. At that time, I think the very interesting thing is that for the first, I think, half year, the whole NTI, at the time, you found that after 5:30, all air conditioning switched off, all lights switched off. It's just like that,
You're forced to go home.
Yes. and I found that many of us actually came from overseas, and we had to buy our own electric fan, right? Open up the windows, and do some work in the office. But then I think this is only about half year. And ever since they turned to a full-fledged university, NTU, 6 months later, and the country actually started to push for research. And the university actually started very strongly the research initiation. And in the sense that I still feel I'm very, very lucky that being a very young academia, my first job, right after PhD, and I will be given such opportunity to apply for funding to be a principal investigator, which is almost not possible if I were in other countries. So still feel extremely fortunate, caught up this timing, right? And being given like level playing field to play with. And so that's how we started this research. And very soon, the university recruited many research students from overseas and start to equip research labs and pouring millions and millions of dollars into research projects. So that's the whole, I think, coming from that age, I think this is how the whole Singapore research started, real research work.
Indeed. Well, of course, NTU today is a very different place. Research and innovation activities are top priorities. So before we talk about the present, we have been talking about the past. The school of EEE, your school, has found something that belongs to you. It is a Straits Times article about your invention, and it has been hanging proudly on the wall in EEE since the 8th of May, 1998. 23 years. The title of the article was very appropriate. I think we can flesh out the article. Yes, you can see the title is A Gem of an Idea. So you see, Straits Times knew exactly what they were talking about then. So 23 years later, almost to the day, the school has decided to return this article to its rightful owner in the form of a commemorative memento.
Thank you. Thank you.
So to do this honor, I'm going to call upon your very first PhD student and co-inventor of the FCVA technology. So like the newspaper article, this person has also been hanging around EEE for the past 23 years. Yeah. But of course, he has been very productive, and today he is a full professor and one of the more senior and well-respected faculty in the College of Engineering. So let's put our hands together for Professor Teh Beng Kang.
Thank you, thank you. I was wondering, was it me?
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I was just looking at this picture of you 23 years ago. If instead of founding a unicorn, you went on to be an actor, I think you had done very well. Huh? All right, let's talk about the present. We have heard a lot about Nanofilm Technologies International. Yeah, can you tell us more about the company? In which countries do you operate in? Who are your main customers?
Yeah, NTI in short started 1999, and it was a deep tech company, and it's been through 20 years of journey, and from a research-oriented company, try to prove the concept, try to commercialize the technology, to a engineering company, try to open up more applications and get more customers. Then eventually come to, since 2012, a mass production company in certain large supply chain. And now we are undergoing another transformation. NTI is going to be a deep tech company, but using deep tech technologies as catalyst to be a commercial launchpad. So in our business model, we are undergoing such transformation that we share the same core technologies. We're enlarging our technology portfolio, and then using this technology, because I'm always thinking deep tech that is different from high tech. There is a huge gap between deep technology itself from a commercial world. And how to patch up this gap, that is the thing we need to think. So our attempt is to do along the way that use deep technology as catalysts, and using the company NTI as a commercial launchpad to spin off various industrial applications. And our latest attempt is to spin off a company doing hydrogen economy, doing hydrogen fuel cells. So we will continue that process. In the past decades, we spin off the company for like consumer electronics business unit. And we spin off the business unit to focus on nanofabrications for optical sensory devices. And we spin off the business units focus on general precision advanced materials coatings, and including those wear and tear coatings, very important coatings for automotive engine parts. And now is these fuel cells, and we're going to continue. So that it will be our NTI's general model.
I see. Thank you. So, who are your main competitors?
If you look at various areas we're in, there are competitors. But then if you look at, take a deep look at those competitors, most of them, they focus on one product or one product line, in one, at least in one particular industry, one segment. And if you're talking about a company, encompass the big gap, encompass a big spectrum from technological research, deep tech research, step by step, all the way to commercialization and the mass manufacturing. I think probably NTI is the only one, for those new so-called technology companies. Right? And our role model will be those really tech giants in the world. In the past, like GE, IBM in the past, HP, spanning number of industries and rooted in deep technology. And that is the model that make the company everlasting, if you do it well.
Right, indeed. But it is said that it takes a village to raise a child. Yeah. And I'm sure many people have contributed significantly to the success of nanofilm. Can you talk about a few people who have really made nanofilm possible?
Yes, I think I had to start from my university time. And research is a tough journey and sometimes lonely. And very luckily, at that time in NTU, I had a very strong support from university, basically, especially the director of research, Professor Tang Hongxiang. He was beginning was my division head, then director of research for the university, and through him we also got strong support from the president, then President Prof. Chan. So that I feel fortunate for the research group. This overall, as a young person, very young researcher at the age of 30, that he could place his trust and confidence. I feel indebted. And of course, more important is my co-worker, my colleague, and my partner in the university. We do all these things all these years together. That's Prof. Day. And Bing Kang, we started ever since I started this project. And we worked all the way around. And he helped me tremendously in terms of administer the lab, doing a lot of admin work. And at the same time, he must do his own PhD thesis and do a lot of experiments and help me tremendously. And of course, when we start up this this company, then our initial batch of people, they are hardworking, they contribute tremendously to the company's growth. And all the people around me, I think people know me and around me, they place trust on me, and they were willing to believe in what I see. So that is something I would say I owe them a big thanks.
Right. So it took more than 20 years for nanofilm to be listed on the SGX main board. Certainly, there's a lot of blood and sweat that went into it. Do you have any regrets? Could success have come earlier?
In a short answer, no regret. In a way, is that when I was at the age of 35, if life became predictable, if life became like cruising, I don't think is a good thing for a young person. Right? So I do not feel any regret to take this step forward. Although now we were reasonably successful and reasonably grown up, but even say we just continue to just do our work and do what we believe and work on what we are passionate about, I would still feel happy about it. I think being a person, if 20 years is long. We do not have many 20 years in our lifetime. And I do not want to impose my model, my journey onto other people. Right? 20 years is too long. But in a way, if you do this, you spend these 20 years on things you are passionate about, on the things that you like to do, and it's part of your life, then you got to spend your life. This is part of a life journey. So it's okay.
Well said, indeed. Well, they say that behind every successful man, there stands a woman. Of course, in today's context, behind every successful woman, there stands a man as well. So since we have the privilege of the presence of your wife, Madam Jin, whom I just found out is an alumnus of NTU as well, in the School of Mechanical and Production Engineering. She did her master's. I will not reveal which year. So since you are here, Madam Jin, I know I caught you off guard, but I hope you can answer this question. How have you supported your husband as he made his journey from an academic to a founder of a successful startup? Can you please stand, face the camera? Thank you.
Well, I guess it's our family's culture for wife to support husband to pursue his career. So Dr. Shi has always been a very ambitious person. But yeah, when as he just mentioned, towards end of 90s, when his effort with NTU Venture failed to secure a commercial deal, he wanted to start the business by himself. He wanted to try. I was very concerned about the risk, of course, and especially when I found the funding, the initial fund was very limited. But he was very determined anyway, so I have to agree. But the initial stage was very, very tough. And the company, for so many times, the company was on the brinks of going under. I still remember there was one night, very late, he came back and said, "We maybe failed. I probably won't be able to make it work." It was so heartbreaking. And I had to counsel him, say not to worry about the outcomes. And I said, even if the company has to be closed down, and my salary can still cover our expense. And I was very sure he can find a job within a year, so no big deal. But very lucky, the second day he solved the problem. So yeah. Yeah, but this happens a few times. We had a problem of paying salary, and he had to reduce his salary even lower than mine for some time. But we overcome, and I think it's natural for me to support him to pursue his dream, and I will still do my best to support him to take care of the family so he can work and concentrate on what he's doing in future. Okay.
Thank you so much, Madam Jin. Now,
Thank you.
Well, let's talk about the future. Can you share with us, Dr. Shi, the future outlook of nanofilm? What opportunities and challenges do you face to take nanofilm to the next stage?
Yeah, it's just now I mentioned that we just undergoing a transformation of a business model. And I believe based on that model, the company can grow continuously. And we are also constantly thinking that how to maintain a company's livelihood and how to maintain the company sort of a vibrancy and make it sustainable growth. And that there is no simple answer, right? Because like everybody, like everything else, company has a life. This company is a collection of people. So, but how to make the company sustainably grow? And we have all kinds of theories that you must reinvent, you must renew yourself. And this must have certain structure and system to ensure this kind of a reinvention, renewable process would happen and in a seamless manner. As I would say, the business model we are attempting stand a good chance, I think. And also luckily because our technology, deep technology, is increasing its breadth and increasing its bandwidth, and it provides excellent platform for new applications to be spun off, for new applications to be tried, and those new applications, many of them, could lead to a big business in various industries, in various segments. So this is, I would say, is like inborn, is genetically fortunate thing for our company. We do have such base. So it is up to us, to the management, to the board, to fully capitalize this potential and to grow the company to the next level and even beyond that. And the next thing I would say, maybe in 10-year time, probably think about how to renew the mothership itself, right? How to reinvent the deep technology itself, how to renew that technology base.
Yes, indeed, we should never rest on our laurels. So, Dr. Shi, given all that you have experienced and now know, what piece of advice would you give to NTU faculty, researchers, and students who want to start up their companies and become successful technopreneurs, especially for faculty? You know, you're obviously a role model for the faculty.
I would say especially for technopreneurship, for technopreneurs themselves, my feeling is that there are a few attributes. I would say probably two layers. The first layer I summarize into 3 keywords, and the first is passion. The second is determination, and the third is execution. And you know, the perseverance or insistence, whatever, it must come from passion. Otherwise, how long you can persevere? 2 months or 20 months or 20 years. The second layer is more like you must have technology, being a technopreneurship, right? And you must have business attitude. You are doing business. You are not doing free work. You are not doing charity. And you must have enough financial knowledge. To me, I think this is a very acute thing. When I started this business, I didn't even know how to read a financial statement. There is almost blank in my knowledge base about financial things. And you have to learn along the way. Is super important. And the company is governed, managed by figures. And the company is maintained and propelled by systems, structure. And university is a wonderful place. I think university is a very unique place that, to characterize it, like this is a place that is an exchange of views, right? Exchange of views, exchange of ideas through academia's intensive mind games. I think the key word is a mind game. We play mind game in university. And we exchange the outcome from our mind games. And we debate. And we hopefully with this exercise, and every day, new ideas, new inventions, new breakthroughs will come out from that. And to have all these things, another physical structure is that we must have very solid research foundation. And this research foundation is not just in size and the volume, but also in time. We need accumulation of knowledge. Any research group, any research direction, I think we need accumulation of knowledge, as proven again by all the famous universities. The knowledge must be accumulated. And the research group should form its own legacy. Then along the way, maybe, because all research work, it takes decades to reach certain breakthrough point. So you do very hard research work now. Maybe the beneficial party is your student or your student's student. But hopefully they still work on the same direction. So time is important. You must have a deep time. You transfer the time, you transfer the time into depth. You only spend in time, then you can reach depth.
Indeed, thank you. Those are very good advices, even for myself. You spoke about legacy. So, a general question. Have you achieved your life goals? And what legacy do you want to leave behind?
I think one must be humble. The life is very short. And you compare to the universe, it's nothing. And no one is indispensable in this world. And no one's work is indispensable in this world. So I would feel very happy that to be, say, okay, remembered as a person that bring FCVA into commercialization. Make it possible for the FCVA technology commercially used in mass production. Right? And there is a limitation of bandwidth. Myself also, I think there is a limitation of bandwidth. And going forward, we need successive people to continue, our new generation in the company to continue the work. And sooner or later, there will be a succession. Right? So we should live a full life. One must live a full life. And work is part of the life, but it should not be all. Right? So I think in terms of legacy, I think I have a very humble sort of feeling about that.
Thank you, Dr. Xu. At this point, I'd like to take a few questions from the audience. There are more than 800 of you. And somebody wrote in. This person was asking, is timing or technology more important in your venture?
I think in our technology, in our business, obviously technology plays a more important role, I would say. And I still remember that my previous PhD supervisor in UK, when we chat, he told me that if something is very, very popular, everybody rushes to it, and probably we should wait. And only when things settle down, maybe 99% of people left the field, maybe we can examine whether there's anything worthwhile continue to do. So a deep technology requires time accumulation. And as just I mentioned that we should use time to exchange for depth. So technology is more important. If you really have a core, fundamental technology, and this technology bound to be everlasting or last for very long. And my character and also I think I influenced the company. We are not good at chasing the wave, and we don't chase the wave. So we will continue to our deep technology and commercialization.
Okay. Here's another question. What are some of the skills you have acquired in academia that that has proven most useful in starting your own company?
A lot. Maybe marking the papers.
All 900 of them, yes.
Yeah, still, that was probably
That's perseverance, right?
Yes, one of my few nightmares about marking papers. 900 papers in 1 week. You have to complete everything. Oh, but then okay, Okay, yes, I think seriously in academia life, because this was my first job and probably only job. After that, just a company. So it gave me a huge impact in my life because the best period of my life is in the university. So in university, I learned to talk to students, learn to communicate, right? Learn to teach. And in university, I start to learn to administer things, administration jobs, right? And learn to read reports. Yeah, you must read the students' thesis, right? And it's quite a tiring job. And you have to read all the students' final year projects, IA report, industrial attachment reports, IHPT, right? So it's endless reading, but that is a good training. It's a good training. So I would say, to summarize, reading reports, communication, and administration.
Okay, we have time for one last question, and I see one here. Who was your role model in school and why?
Okay, the school is my middle school, university. No, I'm not a person to chase stars. I don't have the habit. And in my university time and school time, I think at that time my education or my upbringing make us like, you know, the role models. They are all like famous scientists. They are those super famous scientists, Paul, Heisenberg, Madame Curie, and then of course some famous scientists in China. And we listen to their advice, and that's how I firmly chose physics as my direction. And then when I came to Singapore and the university and get to know Singapore better and so on, and my actual idol, I would call it idol or role model, actually I think must be the late LKY. I think he did it's a magic things he did in Singapore, and to provide all Chinese actually a good sanctuary. Is in literally in all sense, it is a sanctuary for all Chinese all over the world. And what he achieved in Singapore is unparalleled and unprecedented. And his determination, his attitude, his ability, the overall mindset is unsurpassed. So yeah, he's my role model.
He is my role model as well. So Dr. Shi, I'd like to thank you for participating in this very engaging dialogue. I wish you continued success with Nanofilm, and also good health to you and your family. And with that, I would like to bring this dialogue to a close. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Luis.
Thank you so much for the lively discussion. It is now my pleasure to invite Professor Suresh to deliver his remarks. Professor Suresh, please.
Thank you, Louis and Dr. Shi, for a very engaging lecture. Also, Ms. Jin, thank you for joining us today. One of the, just picking up on the discussion that you just had, some of the things that strike me, which is very relevant to what NTU is trying to achieve today, would be having come through the journey from the 1990s to where it is today, especially in the area of deep tech. We have an opportunity to elevate the university further, not just in our education, not just in our research, but equally in translating the research discoveries into products, processes, services, and tools that benefit society through technology, through deep tech. I think there is a significant opportunity. This is going to be part and parcel of our latest 5-year strategic plan, which we just unveiled in January of this year. And so there are a number of things that you discussed today that are very well aligned with our goals and our aspirations as a university moving forward. And as you pointed out, the university has come a very long way in a relatively short period of time. And it still has some distance to go. And one of the areas where I think what you called accumulation or accumulated portfolios, I call accumulated portfolio of accomplishments of the university. In many cases, it's over centuries. If we can do that over decades, it'll be well worth it. As part of this aspiration, starting about 3 years ago, NTU established something called the Nanyang Professor of the Practice program. So we have leaders like yourself who have started companies that involve large numbers of colleagues, employees, and people who have taken an idea to either commercial success or societal impact, or who have led large organizations that have had impact in many different ways. So over the course of the last 3 years or so, we have engaged a very small number, just a handful of distinguished colleagues, to offer them the title of Nanyang Professor of the Practice. So we are really pleased and delighted to invite you to join us, join the university. You've been part of the university, you are a faculty member at the university, to rejoin the university with a new title of Nanyang Professor of the Practice, so that you can continue to engage with the university in a manner that your schedule will permit. But there are many opportunities to engage with students and faculty, and it was abundantly clear from your conversation today that you, despite being away from academia for more than 2 decades, you very much cherish the opportunity to talk to students and colleagues, not just about research, but about technology. So we would very much like to do this today. So I have a little memento to formalize your appointment as Nanyang Professor of the Practice. So I would like to give this to you. So let me take this opportunity once again for taking the time from your busy schedule to join us today and for offering your thoughts. There are a number of initiatives that the university has rolled out during the course of this year for the next 5 years, and we will continue to pursue this, and the university will really benefit from your insights as we move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Suresh. May I kindly invite you to return to your seat? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of our dialogue event. Thank you so much all for joining us, and have a great day. Thank you.